Hi everyone, my name is Jess and today I'm going to talk to you about what are the differences and how to transition from inside sales to outside sales. All right, let's go ahead and get started. All right everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button below. It would help me out a lot and you'll be reminded that every single Monday I do post new content. Okay, so you can probably hear from my voice, I am slightly gaining it back. Thank you for listening to this video. I'm sorry if it's hard to listen to my voice for this one, but you're gonna wanna tune in. I am talking about what are the main differences of inside sales and outside sales, and what do you need to do to prepare for an outside role if you're currently on the inside. Now I wanna talk through 10 different tips that I'm gonna give you, and I'm gonna talk through a little bit of my experience and what to look out for and how to really get on the outside. So we'll start with number one, which would be understanding the differences. In the time when I was a leader, I understood that I manage inside sales and outside sales. And so when I was talking to an inside salesperson, they genuinely always wanted to go on the outside. And some of those reasons were, well, I want to be in front of customers. I want to be more in charge. I want to have more of the solution-based conversations. There was a lot of like, I want, but not really understanding fully what account executives do. And then sometimes you'll have inside reps that don't understand what account executives do and think that they do the same job as an account executive. And I think that is the biggest misconception, is an inside person maybe too early in their career will be like, I can do that, I'm ready. And they genuinely don't have enough experience in sales to be an account executive. And it really depends on the company, right? Some companies hire account executives right out of school and, they hit the ground running. You'll traditionally see that in smaller, medium-sized businesses, where Fortune 500 companies, traditionally they hire sales reps that have a lot more tenure. Maybe they come with a network, maybe they come with some customers that they've already sold into. But the majority of large organizations, you need to work your way through the internal system, really understand the full portfolio of what you're selling, and really try to be solution-based. And so I think that number one thing that you need to look out for when transitioning is understanding what an account executive does before you just rush and say, I want to be the one in charge and the one taking on the territory, because it's not that simple. And I've watched 2 or 3 people do that in their career and they kind of regretted it and said, hey, I moved maybe a little too quickly. I was in a rush to just transition out of inside sales, that I was not as prepared as I could have been. And so the point of this video is, if you're out there and you're ready to be an account executive, we'll go through some of these points and really do a check-in on yourself if you are actually ready, or maybe in 6 months from now. So that brings me to number 2, research the role. So whether it's an account executive role within the same organization you're at or externally, talk to, I was gonna say 2 or 3, now 3 or 5 different account executives to actually understand what are their pain points in the role. What do they like? What do they not like? Was there anything that they should have done before becoming an account executive? Any gotchas that they didn't see coming? I think it's so important to, if you have the luxury, to reach out on LinkedIn and have someone respond to you, to give you the time of day to walk you through what they do and some of the pain points. Another way to research the role would be reading job descriptions. What are the skills and experience that they are looking for from an account executive standpoint? Even if you can pre-ask a mentor or an interviewer, what are those skills that you need as an account executive, I think is really important to just wrap your head around the whole role. And number 3, as we're going into number 3, would be to take time to update your skills. So now you know the differences of outside and inside sales. Now you've researched the role, you've talked to a couple different people. Number 3, what are your gaps, right? What are you maybe going through that is challenging in your existing role that maybe wouldn't be challenging as an AE, or Any challenges that you have on an inside, maybe organization, and you're telling yourself, I'm not an organized person. I will do a lot better as outside seller because I'm not doing all the admin, I'm not on the computer, but that couldn't be far from the truth. As an account executive, I would say the number one skill set, time management and organization, because no one is gonna follow up for your customers. It will be you. And if you forget to follow up, that could be thousands, millions, whatever the dollar amount that you're selling, it could be a lot of money that you're just leaving because of your lack of organization. So that would be the number one skill, in my opinion. Sorry about that, just a little cough. That would be the number one skill that I would focus on is organization, negotiation, talking and understanding the customer specifically, presentation skills without a PowerPoint and without a deck, being able to talk through the solution at least to a 15 to 20 minute conversation alone is where you need to be. And I think when you do have those conversations with your mentors that are account executives, you can ask them, what is a skill that is number one that you need to have as an account executive? And see, depending on the industry you're in, see if that's the same as what I'm saying. I'm very curious because it is really important to gain that understanding of where are the career gaps, where are the gaps that you have in your career currently that you could start working on the inside, right? So if it is communication skills, if it is presentation skills, well, start doing that so you can practice before you actually get the role. Now, another thing, no one, especially internal, even external, no one is going to hire you as an account executive if you don't have an excellent sales record. I don't care who's watching, who wants to write in the chat to say, or in the comments to say, Jessica, you're wrong. I can get hired. Maybe I had a bad year or bad month or bad quarter. But I will tell you, if you do not have the reputation of getting things done, closing things, or able to articulate your sales record to that interviewer, it is going to be very hard to transition from inside to outside. It is a lot easier if you absolutely crush it and do well from an inside sales perspective and then easily transition that into outside. People want to see what you're made of. What can you do? And if you prove it before you're even in the role and you can articulate that, especially if it's internal, they're going to see all the numbers, right? They can pull your statistics, they can pull your territory to see, is it actually a successful territory? And let's say it's not. If it's not, have a story around it. Have a story of why did the territory do so bad according to the quota or whatever it might be. What is the story there? I think that's important to note is people like to promote people that do well in sales and that are not struggling, because most likely if you're struggling as an inside seller, those same struggles are going to follow you as an account executive. Now, the next one would be to network. Network. I can't say it enough. If the organization you work at is large, it is so important to network, because the majority of time when an account executive role does get posted, they probably have some people in their mind who they want to hire. It's unfortunate. I've been on the receiving end of not being hired because they had a bench, and it kind of sucks, it kind of doesn't. But what my advice is, if you're looking to be an account executive in 6 months, 8 months, or 1 year from now, start networking if you haven't already, especially if it's internal. If it's external, even more, start networking, because no one is just going to hire you from a resume, from an inside sales resume to outside sales, even from a great cover letter. They're going to want to see you connecting with the organization. You could connect with AEs, and AEs could be cheering you on, saying, yeah, she would be great, or he would be great on the bench, and to have us join the team, right? So it's so important to network. I will say, whether it's internal or external or both, keep networking. Make it a minimum of one person per month to network, both internally and externally. So that's 2 people, so that you just build that pipeline of people and opportunity. Today's world is so different people are not staying 15, 20, 25 years. There's some people, but from a sales perspective, it is getting so challenging to stay in one company. So it's always good to have a network of different people. Now, the next one is if you want to transition from inside to outside, like I said about networking and building your strong network, is internal opportunities. Sometimes there's not even a role out there, but if you're doing so well, sometimes the organization will just say, well, we're going to make this role an outside one. I've seen that many times. I've seen that, I don't know, over the last 10 years, that there'll be new departments that just pop up and you'll have the opportunity internally to grow into from an inside role to an from an inside role to an AE role a lot easier because you're already doing the role and that department has grown. So that's another way to transition from inside to outside. And the next one that I remember I did this 6-7 years ago. There's some organizations that it doesn't matter if you've had previous outside sales experience, they want you to have outside experience at the organization or it doesn't count. It's a little odd, but humor me for a second. There are some companies that if you're an inside seller and you haven't done outside sales at that company, they want you to practice there, right? Selling their solution, selling their service, selling all of their lines of business. So what I would do is if you're on the inside right now and you have a couple outside sellers that are within your region that are maybe within your territory, ask to go once per month on a customer visit with them. So you can watch, so you can practice and learn how they're doing it, how they're articulating the message of the business, and even closer, I would say, to the proposal stage or the close stage. How are they able to do that? And that hands-on experience, that real life experience that you can go follow them from customer to customer for that day is huge. Someone did that, I remember, at Dell. I had a couple lunches and it was just neat to see customers in a different setting versus the phone and email. I had such a great time and I still remember exactly who those customers were. And I really would say that gave me some good experience. Number 8, fix your resume. If you are applying for jobs and traditionally you have been applying for jobs on the inside, you're gonna wanna start to tailor your resume and cover letter from going from inside to outside. Why do you want to do it? Why now? What skills do you have on the inside that are transferable to the outside? Make sure that you work that resume, throw it in ChatGPT, ask it to make it a little bit more outside with the specific skills that you have acquired over the last 6 months because you've been working on becoming an outside seller, and just tailor it to that. Because if you're tailoring it to, I'm really good at admin, I'm really good at managing Salesforce admin and sending out quotes and things like that, that's not really what an account executive does. And I will make another post on what is an account executive if this is all new to you. So comment if it is new to you. But you're gonna want to fix your resume from an outside resume to from an inside resume to an outside. And that means, what's that next step? What is number 9? Start preparing for interviews. You can't go on the outside. You cannot be an account executive if you do not apply. And for a lot of women out there, I'm looking at you who think, I don't know if I can do outside sales. I don't know if I have it in me. Just apply. Start applying and seeing if you're going to get any traction. But if you don't apply, you're not going to get the interview. And I think it's very important to practice the interview with an existing account executive to see some of those mishaps, those questions, those challenges that they're going to go through to make sure that you're prepared for that interview. And lastly, stay flexible, be persistent. If you want this and you want to go from the inside and the outside, you could go through 4, 5 interviews, 5 rounds of role playing and things like that, but it's not gonna happen overnight. You're gonna need to really push yourself in that interview, prove yourself that you are worth the investment from an inside seller to an outside seller. And that would be my advice. If you think you're ready and you've gone through this checklist, you understand what the job is, go for it. apply. I think you would do amazing. I'm cheering you on. And if you have any comments, you like this type of video, I know that 80% of people that are watching do not subscribe. So I would love it if you could give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, whatever, subscribe, and I will see you later on next week. All right, take care.